Welcome to the Resilient Mindset Podcast, an exciting new podcast by Resilience Queen, Justine Martin. Justine is the owner and founder of the Resilient Mindset, a division of the Justine Martin Corporation. Justine draws on her years of experience and knowledge consulting with clients to develop and sustain a positive mindset. Focused on igniting your passion, purpose and power, follow the Resilience Queen each week as she delves into the mind of her guests, exploring fascinating stories and inspiring journeys.
Hello listeners and welcome back. Today I've got Marika Gare, who grew up in Perth, and she's a multi-award winning owner and founder of Perth Virtual Services, providing small and medium businesses with business solutions. She shares her knowledge and wisdom with other business owners, encouraging them to awaken the full potential of their business, assisting them to navigate through obstacles and bring their goals to fruition. Having a highly successful business herself and having worked with such a variety of other business owners, she shares what she has learned from her personal journey to help them optimise their business. Marika is the mother to a beautiful son who inspires her every day to be a better mother, person and business owner. The love for her child is the reasoning behind everything she does, providing solid foundations, showing him resilience and passion and encouraging him to follow his dreams. Welcome, Marika. How are you today?
Good. I'm having a great day today. I feel nice and refreshed after a weekend away. So
that's awesome. So let's get into it. What does resilience mean to you?
So to me, resilience means being able to overcome whatever obstacles come your way, perseverance and courage, and just to get over that emotional burden and be able to stay positive, which is often hard to do.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's an adversity that you have faced and how did you draw on your resilience to cope?
Well, there's been a few. Look, I think probably one of the most difficult times in my life was when I experienced a severe car accident overseas. I do get quite emotional with it sometimes, even now. It was overseas in Thailand. We hit a tree at around 80 kilometres an hour. We rolled the car multiple times.
Oh, my gosh.
Luckily, I was knocked out at the start. I say luckily because I don't remember the accident.
Yep.
It was quite traumatic. But it left me with a lot of injuries. So I had a torn spleen, damage to my vestibular system, injuries to my shoulder. So I lost the temporary use of my arm. I had deep lacerations to my face. I actually cut one of my eyelids off.
Wow.
So I needed immediate plastic surgery. I had bruised internal organs. I had severe head trauma, which resulted in a fracture between my eye sockets, which then resulted in severe brain injury. So with a brain injury, obviously along with that came a lot of PTSD, anxiety, nightmares, all that kind of stuff. But, I lost 70% of my memory. And, through life you experience so many different things, and your memory is really what you learn from and you build from, you grow your wisdom from, and it makes you who you are. So when I lost that amount of memory, and just to put it into context, I couldn't remember how old I was. I had a rough idea, but I couldn't remember exactly. I couldn't remember the names of people I'd known for years. I knew what letter their names started with, but I struggled with that a lot.
And that's scary and frustrating.
It was so scary. And it wasn't just the memory loss. So I had issues with my speech. I couldn't understand what words to use to explain things. And I used to get confused a lot. My short-term memory was basically non-existent. So someone would talk to me, and if I didn't write it down straight away, I'd forget. And then I'd ask them a few times, and I'd just stress out because I couldn't remember it.
I'm still like that.
And there were times I'd go to say things and it'd come out all jumbled. And that was probably the scariest part, because I knew what I wanted to say, but it was coming out all gibberish, and people would just look at me like, you're crazy. So I really kind of went I got very reserved and went into my shell a little bit, just trying to sort of deal with that. But, you know, it took 3 years for my brain to get back to its full capacity. And the doctors said, you know, I may never get that capacity back, which was frightening because, you know, before the accident, you know, I knew I was an intelligent woman. I had the memory of an elephant, like, you know, and everything was kind of, nothing was an issue for me, I guess, mentally, and learning and things like that. So to go from that to basically having nothing and not knowing if it would come back was frightening. It was really frightening.
I can identify with that. When I was diagnosed with the MS and the cognitive issues that I experienced and still experience, it is terrifying, and you're losing control of yourself. And
and that feeling of just being so confused all the time and so lost, and people that didn't know me before the accident. So I stayed home for, I think, 2 months. The doctor said I should have stayed home for closer to 6, but I don't know, in my mind, I just wanted to go back to work, try and get some normality back. But it was so overwhelming. And the people that hadn't worked with me, they didn't know what I was like before. So they'd just see this person who was like a bit like a dumb blonde, you know, and I really noticed the difference in the way that I was treated as well, which was also difficult because I couldn't explain to people everything. But, you know, just going through all of that, it makes you realise what's important in life. And I kind of reevaluated, you know, where I was at, who was I? You know, I had to do a lot of soul searching and kind of rediscover myself, particularly because those memories weren't there. And every now and again I'd get little snippets, but I wasn't sure, is that a memory or is it a dream? And I
watched something on TV and that's where that had come from.
Is this? And it was really difficult that first year. But yeah, so that was probably the most difficult time. And also because I had a lot of facial surgery, it took probably close to 6 months before all the swelling went down on my face, which I don't know why it took so long, but it was all morphed. And that was another difficult thing. You know, when I was in the hospital, they removed all the mirrors. They wouldn't let me look at myself. And I was trying to get my partner to take a photo of me, and he's like, no. And so I just kind of went with that. Obviously, you know, my brain wasn't working anymore. I'll just focus on getting some sleep and whatnot. But it was quite a few weeks before I looked in the mirror, and it did scare me.
Yeah, it would.
I understand why they had done that. But, yeah, look, it was definitely the most challenging thing I've been through. Yeah.
Wow. And so what resilience did you use? How did you get through that time?
Well, I just kind of decided to, you know, with what I'd been through, and I was on loan for most of this time throughout my recovery. So I just decided I'm just going to take each day as it comes. You know, I thought, what outside of this, who am I? What do I want out of life? Where am I going to go from here? What if I don't get better? What if I do? Where do I want to go in life? So, and I had this goal in my mind, you know what? Okay, I want children. I want a home. I want a business. I want all these things. How am I going to make this happen? So I thought I just took each day as it came. I focused on my rehabilitation. I had to train my brain back again. And I just took really baby steps. I was just kind to myself and thought, you know what, once I physically and mentally get better, then I can do anything I want. So as long as I just get through this, I can. So there was obviously a lot of days where I was feeling really depressed or tired and I didn't feel like doing it. And I got that picture of my mind of me having this great life. And I thought, yes, that's what I want. I've got to do it. I'm just working towards it. And it helped push me through those bad days. And I wasn't sure what the true outcome would be in my recovery, but I thought I just focused on that. And you know what? Another thing is, when I was in the rehab, I went to, in Perth, there's a place called Shenton Park. It's closed now. And, you know, I couldn't stand up without falling over. And so I had to learn a little bit, I say, to sort of help me walk again. So I was in the rehab gym and I'm holding onto the rails and I was sort of walking. I was a bit wobbly. And there was this guy in there and he was in a wheelchair and he yelled out at me, "Oh, you're lucky you can walk." And he was quite angry, but he said, "Look at me, I'm never going to walk again." And I feel emotional. It really upset me because I thought, I've been through all of this stuff and here I am sitting there feeling miserable. And this poor guy, he's never going to walk again. I've got the chance to do that. So I use that. We're going to get upset. I use that as well, to use the opportunity that I've got that other people don't have to live that life and just stop being in my little miserable state of mind. And, I have the opportunity to do that. So,
yeah. I can relate, and to me it's like, all right, I've got to get off my pity party now and just get in, and statistically I should not be here. Now I've got the MS that can't kill you, but you can definitely die from complications from it, as my mum did. And then I've had 3 heart surgeries and 3 primary cancers at once, and then another blood condition on top of that. So
wow.
Every day is a blessing still to walk this planet. And, I know that time is very, very precious.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and make the most out of each and every day. If I waste a day, I'm angry at myself that I've wasted
I know,
that day.
And I'm the same. And people say to me, like, how do you just keep going? You've been through so much. Because, it wasn't just the accident. I've had other things, my brother passed away. I was diagnosed with Crohn's when I was 14. Actually died on the operating theatre. Like, I've had the multitude of things. But you have to find that inner strength, And
how do you think you find that, Marika?
Well, I just think, the universe puts you in these situations. I'm quite a spiritual person. Puts you in these situations, and it is difficult, but it brings out, it gives you that decision to choose what sort of person, what sort of life.
Yes.
Are you going to sit back and just go, "Oh, poor little me," and be miserable? Nothing's going to change.
No. And we all have that choice.
Not to put, disheartening on that. I know, I've suffered from depression at times as well. I know what that's like. But then you've got to push through and think, well, it's a fight or flight. You can sit there and go, and just take it. Or you can go, no, not today. I'm going to find a way through this and I'm going to kick ass and live the life that I've always wanted. And if you got to keep your eye on that goal. I've got a vision board and I do my 5-year planning and things like that. So I really focus my intention on what I want.
Yeah.
And, I was once told that I've got the determination of Attila the Hut, because if I want something, I don't give up until I get it.
We must be soul sisters somewhere, Marika, because I've been told the same thing.
Yeah, and I must admit, when I was younger, diagnosed with Crohn's at 14, I was insanely sick. I'd throw up 30 times a day. I couldn't move. It was just, they didn't know if I was really going to survive because I was so sick. And my dad gave me a lot of tools to help also with my resilience, which I've drawn on throughout my life. And one of those, he did say to me, if I was having a bit of a sulk, he's like, Marika, there's people around the world in a worse situation than you. He goes, I'm not saying that you're not going through a bad time, but there's people out there who are blind, who are starving, all this kind of stuff. Like you're not well, but you've got other things. It's not like you're not well, plus you've got all this other stuff. Like you just have to try and find the positives and find that, resilience in yourself. And he did give me a lot of tools to work with, which was,
He sounds like a very special man.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
People will ask, is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? Which is it for you?
I don't think it's half anything.
For me, do you want to know what my answer is?
Yeah.
For me, it's always refillable.
Yeah.
So whether you look at it half empty or half full, you can refill it and refill it. So, we don't give up, but what we do is we modify to what's actually happening in our life.
Yeah. Yeah, you sort of find, okay, so what are my pain points? What's my motivation? What's my goal? What do I want? How can I achieve this? So one of the tools that I use as well is to always have not only a backup plan, but have like a plan C, you know, and just if you can think of all avenues and how you might navigate through those, and hopefully you're never really surprised because you've got a plan for all of that and you've mentally prepared yourself for that. So that's something that I use.
That's a great thing. I like that plan A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That is the unexpected, you know?
Yeah.
The left park.
Yeah, because in the blink of an eye, it can just change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's some really good key points there. So who are your role models in resilience and how do they inspire you?
I guess this is probably relative to what I've experienced in my life. My role models are people like Turia Pitt and Dana Verlin who have, you know, they've lived a normal life and then they've had these astronomical sufferings and trauma. You know, they endured the most severe burns to their body they weren't meant to survive. And here they are, and they've not only got through that, and they're positive, they're happy, they're inspiring others. And Dana Verlin especially, she's doing work with other burns victims now because she knows what that's like to go through, and she's helping to give them the tools to, you know, get better and live a better life and be happier and focus on the positivity and things. So those sorts of people to me they blow me away. They're amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah. And people like yourself as well, I've got to say, because you have been through so much and it's like, when is this going to stop? It just keeps going. You just, you know, if you just get stronger and stronger. And
don't worry, I ask myself that all the time. Oh, you know, what more? What more can the universe throw at me? Yeah, and my family and some of my friends have become quite blasé as well. It's like, oh, you know, I've got this wrong with me now. And they're like, oh. Something else.
You know what? You've got that understanding and that, you know, emotional guidance that you can give others and help others, and that's what you're doing, and you do so many inspiring things.
Thank you. Well, I believe my story is someone else's survival guide. You know, if it helps one person create a better life for themselves or stop them doing something silly to themselves, then it is worth, you know, all the hard work and putting my story out there and trying to help as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah. And you know what it feels like to be in those darkest days.
Yes.
And to crawl out from that. So, and it's the greatest gift you can give to someone is to help them move forward from those.
That's right. Where your home is your sanctuary, but it becomes your jail.
Yeah.
And I think people experienced a little bit of that in the last couple of years with COVID.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that, you know, COVID has given people an insight into what it's like to live with an immune compromised body. On, you know, that fear that you might get something and it will kill you. So it's been, you know, society in a whole in one foul swoop when we all went into lockdown was what those of us have experienced in, you know, when you're just a glimpse of it, of when you're diagnosed with an incurable disease. So, it's been interesting watching.
Those basic day-to-day things are so difficult sometimes, you know, because mine's an autoimmune disease and just eating can make me sick, you know, really sick. And there's, it's... And
so have you heard of the spoon theory?
No.
Okay, so the spoon theory is quite well known, and listeners have a Google of it. I'll even pop it in the bio. So what it means is a healthy person probably has around 50 spoons a day. I function on probably about 20 spoons a day. So fatigue is a major issue for me. So just us having a conversation here uses a spoon. Having a shower might use 3 spoons. Eating uses a spoon. Preparing a meal uses a couple of spoons. So if I use my 20 spoons in the day, which I do pretty much each and every day, and I happen to go over those spoons and use 4 from the next day I'm starting on 16.
Yeah.
So I'm not starting on a full tank. I'm starting on 16. But
That
someone
makes a
that's
lot
got
of sense to
50
me.
spoons.
I feel that way too because I understand that completely. Yeah.
And so someone who's got 50 spoons, they might only use 30.
Yeah.
And they've still got 10 in reserve.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare that I would have any spoons in reserve.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that in itself is a major adversity, but you learn to cope with it, and you put strategies in place. It's okay. Well, if I'm going to have a big day this day, the next couple of days are going to have to be quieter.
Yeah. You learn to know yourself so well. And like you said, you put those strategies in place. All right, I know this is what's going to happen, and you're prepared, and you just deal with it. And you can, refine it and make things maybe even a bit easier as time goes on.
Yeah, that's right. That forward thinking now is something that has become second to nature, rather than flying by the seat of your pants and you're not having to worry about, am I going to have enough energy to go and do that in the next couple of days and that. So this coming weekend there's 3 big concerts that I really wanted to go to, and I'm like, what am I thinking? I'm not going to be able to go and do all of that and then function like next week. So you do have to make a call.
Make the choices. But,
that's right. What's a priority and what's going to make you happy.
And and your health and feeling good is a massive priority. So sometimes you have to put other things like that aside. But
because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. You cannot function.
Yeah.
And so looking after the number one person in your life, which is yourself, and doing that self-care is so important. So important. I go and have a massage every week. And it's not for pleasure. It's so I can still walk and so I can still function. Yeah. And so I'm not in so much pain. It's a necessity. And if I don't get that massage in, I know I'm going to pay for it for the next week.
Yeah.
So it's self-care. What self-care are you doing? I'm sure you do a lot of self-care.
I do a lot of self-care. I mean, meditation has been huge for me, especially after my accident, and really rediscovering myself and my inner soul and what I want and how I feel. And so meditation is a really big factor for me. But I think working on your emotions and your mental state and understanding how you react to certain things, on a behavioural level and emotional level and things like that, just that great understanding of yourself is probably the best self-care you can do. Because even in business, it's such a personal journey as well. People don't tell you that.
No.
So you really discover yourself more, and it's just that the great understanding you have of yourself and how you respond to things gives you that advantage in other areas. So
definitely, most definitely.
Yeah.
So what are your passions in life?
Well, my main passion obviously is my son. I'm a sole parent, so I'm lucky, I guess, in a way that I get him 100% of the time, and I've shared all my love on him. I love him to pieces.
How old is he?
He's just turned 4.
He's a little one.
Little one, he has his little moments and stuff, but he's really coming into his own personality now, which is wonderful to see.
Yeah.
He blows me away with his intelligence. Sometimes I think I'm going to be up for it when he's older.
Are you like me? It's like, how did I breed such intelligent humans?
He just uses words that are so far beyond his age. It blows me away. But anyway, he's my main passion, of course, helping others. I love to be able to help others on a personal, spiritual and business level, just to help them find their inner selves and be the best version of themselves that they can be. And focus on enjoying life and being happy. Ever since I was young, my main focus was I just want to be happy. Yep. Whatever I'm doing, I want to be happy. And that's what's given me the courage also to follow my dreams and take certain steps, because I'm not going to have someone tell me no. If I want something that I think is going to make me happy, I'll do it.
Oh, look, you have to be happy.
Within reason. I'm not going to go and break the law or anything silly. You know what I
Well, if you are, you're not going to announce it on a podcast, are you?
But I just think, finding what makes you happy and enjoying the simple things and finding happiness in that is,
Yeah, that's right. And finding the time to do it.
Yeah, but even if you don't have a lot of time, I can go and sit in my backyard, take my shoes off, just sit in nature for a little while with the sun on my face. Yeah, a big few slow breaths, just empty my mind, and that's enough to even just 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've taken time for me to practice that, but that's enough to reboot me like, yes, I get a burst of energy and I'm back to it. So.
Plus, you live in one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Yeah, I do feel pretty lucky living here, I must admit. So.
Yeah, I used to live in Perth.
Yeah, I remember you said before.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful city. It's quite broad, but at the same time, you're close to everything. So
that's right.
I'm close to the city, but I'm not far from the beach. I'm not far to the bushland. You know, the world's your oyster on what you want to do on the weekends. You know, COVID permitting at the moment. I'll be careful with that.
All right, so now I've got some quirky questions.
Okay.
All right, just quick one.
Yeah.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Oh, absolutely.
Yay.
Next week.
Tea, coffee, hot chocolate, or wine?
These days, it's coffee.
Yeah. Lucky you. I haven't had a cup of coffee in 30 years.
I used to love my wine, but I can't, health reasons, and I don't need it. You know,
but now coffee.
Yeah.
Your favourite music?
I'm one of those weird people that I like a little bit of everything. I like 80s. I like, a bit of rock. But I really like some of the, the latest pop music.
Yeah, same. I'm like that.
I'm land with my music. But I got to say, I do quite like a bit of Aussie rock. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I like some classical thrown in there too. It depends on what I'm doing, what activity. But if I'm in the studio, I listen to a lot of piano and it depends on what kind of mood I'm in as well.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I dress to suit my mood as well, and you do things it changes all the time. So
that's right. Yeah. Favorite food?
Spaghetti bolognese.
And is that made by you or someone else?
By me. I've been making it for years. I love it. It's a big family favourite for us.
Do you put chorizo sausage in yours?
No. But I do put all sorts of different vegetables.
Yeah.
Chopped up really finely, a lot of herbs. I love my fresh herbs.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, and my last question. Yeah. Loo paper, forward or backwards?
Oh, forwards.
Yay.
It just rolls on the wall. It's like, and not only that, I must admit, when I have people over, I fold it like they do in the hotel.
Oh, the triangle. You can't fold it in a triangle if it's folded backwards.
Oh, yeah, I'm a bit, I must admit, if I go somewhere else and the toilet paper's the other way, I change it.
Yeah. If you listen to my previous podcast, you'll have me. I quite often mention that.
Myself.
I'm OCD. I'm like, I'll put it around the other way. Sorry to anyone that I go and visit and change the loo paper. So, Marika, I believe that you have an offer for our listeners today.
Yes, so look, I really want to be able to share my experiences and my knowledge. So if anybody wants to contact me for a consult, discovery call on how you can sort of change yourself and be that better version and learn a bit more, perhaps how to implement that in business, then I'm happy to offer that free consultation, and the link will be in the bio.
It will. We'll put it in the bio down the bottom. Now, Marika and I have actually co-authored book.
Yes.
Yeah. We're excited about that, aren't we?
Very excited, yeah.
Yeah, and it's called Courage and Confidence, and it'll be out. Well, pre-sales are out at the moment, and I'll also put the links in the bio for that. But very, very exciting. We've got the launch of it next week. So
yeah, and there's so many inspirational stories in there. Obviously, the both of us delve a little bit more into what we've been through, and it's definitely an asset for anyone who wants to. Who needs that inspiration.
That's right. Well,
and just hearing the stories as well. So
Thank you today for your time, Marika. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Resilience Mindset podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And listeners, until next time, stay resilient.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed the Resilience Mindset podcast. Remember to subscribe to the podcast to get your weekly fix listening to Resilience Queen Justine Martin. Follow Justine on social media at Resilience Mindset or log on to justinemartin.com.au. And until next time, remember, life doesn't get easier or more forgiving. We get stronger and more resilient.